In this video, let us solve a linear inequality with two unknowns. So we have two different letters. For example, solve 2y minus 3x greater or equal to 12. Now, when we solve inequality, we have to follow two steps. One of the ways is to follow two steps. And the first one is to sketch the graph as if we had equals instead of inequality, which means produce the picture by hand for this equation. Now we have multiple options how to make a sketch like that. One of them is to solve for the y and use slope-intercept form, which is y is mx plus b. So let's do that, because if we have it in y equals form, then we can also use a calculator later down the road to check our work. So to cancel negative 3x, we can add 3x to both sides. That would make 2y is 12 plus 3x. Usually we write the x first, just like in the slope-intercept form. So let's rearrange them right now. 3x plus 12. Then the last step is to cancel multiplication. To undo the multiplication by 2, we divide each term by 2. And that makes our final solution. Y is 3 halves x plus 6. Now in this form we can use a calculator. We also can use slope-intercept form to make a sketch, because the ultimate goal was to make a sketch here. So let's make that sketch by hand. With slope-intercept form, the first thing to plot is the intersect, which is the 6, that's the b. So let's put up our coordinate axis. Here's the y-axis. Here's the, let's call it y. Here is the x-axis. Let's call it x. Now we start with 6 on the y-axis, which means count 6 units up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Somewhere here is the intersect. Now the slope tells us how to get the next point, and we use rise over run. The 3 is positive, so we rise up 3 units. 1, 2, 3 up. The run is always to the right. 2 units to the right. 1, 2 to the right. That's the second dot. Now we have to decide whether to connect these with a solid line or dotted line. If our original inequality has an equal sign in it, such as greater than equal to or less than equal to, then we connect our dots with a solid line. And that means that we're including the points on our line in the solution. If we don't have an equal sign, such as less than, or greater than, then we connect our two data points with a dotted line. And that means we are not including these in the points on our straight line, would not be included in our solution. But in our case, we do have equal sign, so we connect with solid line. So here is solid line, roughly going through these two dots. It's a bit of a curve, but that's the idea. So here is the end of the first step. The second step is, now we have two sides, and we have above the line and below the line. We have to decide which one of these is the solution. So to do this, we need a test point. So here is a test point. Test a point not on the line, and that is key. So if the line goes through the point, we cannot use it, because it's sort of on the fence. It's not on above or below, it's right on the fence, and we cannot use points on the fence. So test points not on the line, and if the result turns out to be true, then we shade the point, the side where the point is. If the answer turns out to be false, then we shade the opposite sign. Opposite sign. Now, quickly, I'm going to redraw this sketch just to make it a little bit cleaner, so that the text does not show up. So here is roughly where the answer was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, first dot, 2, 3, and 2. So here is once again the line. So our line did not go through the 0, 0. 0 at this point is the easiest one to test because anything you put 0 into disappears. So our original equation was 2y. So here's the original. 2y minus 3x is greater or equal to 12. Now if we are trying 0, 0, we're replacing each of the x and y's with a 0, which makes 0 greater than 12. 0 greater or equal to 12. Well, that's false. That is not true. So any point on this side would be false, will not work. So we now shade the other side, which is this side. And this diagram with the shading, like this, that is our final answer for the homework or the test. And that's how the solutions to the inequalities with two unknowns look like. It's just a sketch like that. Now, with a calculator, we can also check our work because we now have it solved. We have our equation solved for the y, so we can make a use of it here and type it in our calculator. So with the calculator, let's get here. So in the y equals, we type in the equation just the way it is, 3/2 x, and then plus 6. And instead of the equal sign, let's come up to the very left side using the cursor, and then adjust it here with into the greater than or equal to. Greater or equal to looks like a triangle looking up. So this one, this is looking down, this is looking up. So this is the one. And let's have a look at the diagram. So here is the calculator version to the side, and here is our version right next to it. And we can compare and we can see visually that they look fairly close. Even though we cannot see on the calculator that the line must be solid, we know it must be solid because it had an equal sign. And that is all there is for solving linear inequalities like that. Thanks a lot for your time. Take care.